with Superfast 50, violence in the state of West Bengal continues even a day after Panchayat polls were conducted on Saturday. The death toll has risen to 21 in just 24 hours' time. Fresh clashes were reported in Murshidabad, where bombs were hurled and a minor was even shot at. Shortly after the clashes, the police was also seen arriving at the spot to take control of the situation. In East Midnapur, bombs were allegedly hurled. Gunshots could also be heard in the video that's been accessed by Republic Bangla. And in the latest, a 17-year-old boy was also shot at in the clashes that broke out earlier today. A day after the Panchayat polls mayhem, violence still continues in several districts of West Bengal. Vehicles were set ablaze outside TMC office in one of the districts. The police was also seen reaching the spot to control the situation. Adhiranjan Chaudhary, meanwhile, met the Congress worker family members who were killed in the clashes that broke out in Murshidabad on Saturday. The victim's family pleaded for justice, adding that security was not in place on Saturday when the Panchayat polls were conducted. Speaking on the violence that took place in West Bengal during the polls, West Bengal DIG, BSF DIG said that forces were deployed in sensitive areas as well and that there was no death reported in the locations where the central forces were deployed.
जो टोटल 61,636 जो पोलिंग बूथ हैं उनमें से 4,834 संवेदनशील पोलिंग बूथ घोषित हुए हैं, जो ये डाटा हमें मीडिया के माध्यम से पता चला है। तो जब 61,000 से ज़्यादा पोलिंग बूथ होंगे तो उसमें हर जगह सेंट्रल आर्म्ड पुलिस जो है उसके ट्रुप्स डिप्लॉयड नहीं हो सकते, क्योंकि जो संवेदनशील पोलिंग बूथ होते हैं उसके ऊपर प्राथमिकता दी जाती है। कल जहाँ पे संवेदनशील पोलिंग बूथ थे वहाँ पर स्टेट एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन ने यानी डीएम और एसपी के माध्यम से जहाँ पे हमें बताया गया वहाँ पे हमारे ट्रुप्स डिप्लॉयड थे और जो संवेदनशील पोलिंग बूथ से ट्रुप्स बच गए उनको बाकी जगह पे डिप्लॉय किया गया। तो जहाँ पे डिप्लॉय किया गया वहाँ पे इलेक्शन बढ़िया तरीके से हुए।
Meanwhile, the Congress party workers staged protest in Murshidabad after violent clashes took place in West Bengal's district today as well, which remains one of the worst hit as a result of violence during the Panchayat polls and after the polls. Meanwhile, the BJP also staged protest in East Midnapur in West Bengal against the ongoing violence and the killings of the party workers. The workers, meanwhile, were lathi-charged by the police, who reached the spot to disperse the protesters. After the State Election Commission office in Kolkata was from the outside as a symbolic protest against the violence during the Panchayat polls, the BJP is now likely to move higher court against the Election Commission in relation to the West Bengal violence. Meanwhile, BJP MP Khagen Murmu has alleged ballot rigging in West Bengal Panchayat polls, adding that there should be repolling done in Malda district of West Bengal.
वो पूरा जैसे हो रहा है, तृणमूल कांग्रेस छापा मार मार के वो कब्जा कर रहे हैं पंचायत को, वैसे ही सरकार को भी कब्जा किया। पूरा बंगाल में कोई चुनाव नहीं हो रहा है, पूरा बंगाल में फिर से यहाँ पे रिपोल होना चाहिए। बंगाल में ये रिपोल करके फिर दोबारा यहाँ पे इलेक्शन कराना चाहिए। और गजल में यहाँ भी पूरा जो 253 पुलिस स्टेशन है पूरी पुलिस स्टेशन में रिपोल होना चाहिए।
Members of the Indian community with national flags countered the Khalistani protesters outside the Indian consulate in Toronto on 8th of July.
हम यहाँ पर टोरंटो में सीजीआई के सामने खड़े हैं और ये खालिस्तानियों को फेस करने के लिए यहाँ पर वी आर ट्राइंग टू स्टॉप ऑल दिस खालिस्तानी नॉनसेंस हियर एंड we are here for the solidarity of Canada and India all together they are giving wrong information saying they want to kill our diplomats, which is not good, and we are totally against that.
And in news from UP's Sonbhadra, where a Dalit man was subjected to degrading act just days after urine incident was reported from MP. As per reports, the man approached a lineman to file a complaint about an electricity issue. However, instead of addressing the complaint, the lineman physically assaulted him and forced him to lick his slippers. The entire incident was also captured on video, which has now gone viral on social media, resulting in widespread condemnation over this incident. Speaking on the school wall collapse in the national capital, BJP has hit out at the Aam Aadmi Party, saying that the wall collapse happened even as the building was built just a few months ago, questioning the infrastructure in the national capital.
पोल खुल गई दिल्ली सरकार के वर्ल्ड क्लास एजुकेशन मॉडल की। हाँ, जिसे ये लोग वर्ल्ड क्लास एजुकेशन मॉडल बताते हैं। 4 महीने पहले जो दिल्ली सरकार का स्कूल का निर्माण हुआ है, एजुकेशन मिनिस्टर आतिशी मारलेना के विधानसभा क्षेत्र में ही एक बारिश का झोंका।
Meanwhile, Karnataka's Deputy Chief Minister D.K. Shivakumar has made a fresh promise, saying that he will rectify the wrong processes and even bring things back to order in the state of Karnataka.
Very serious on this. We are investigation is going on, and Virula Swamiji of Belgaum, he also has wanted to take his. He has left his food and water. I appealed to him. I'm trying to contact him. I've asked the local MLA also, minister also to go and speak to him. We will give full protection, and the government is very serious on this issue.
The Kannada organizations, meanwhile, along with the Aam Aadmi Party, have planned to stage a protest next week over alleged negligence in fund allocation for North Karnataka. This as a state budget announcement by Karnataka Chief Minister Siddaramaiah, who also holds the finance ministry in the Legislative Assembly, has left the city residents disheartened over lack of fund allocation for the northern region of the state. Meanwhile, Chirag Paswan of the LJP has fumed speculations that there could be a larger alliance in the offing, with the LJP also joining the NDA fold, as per speculations and sources telling Republic. Speaking on his recent meet with Union Minister Nityanand Rai, sparking a fresh political buzz of parties coming under the NDA fold, LJP's Chirag Paswan said that the party has authorized him to take any decision possible in this regard.
गठबंधन को लेकर लंबे समय से चर्चाएं चल रही थी और आप सब ने भी रह रहकर कई बार ये प्रश्न पूछा कि आप किससे गठबंधन करने जा रहे हैं। बहरहाल मैंने हमेशा इस मर्यादा को बनाए रखा कि गठबंधन की बातचीत जब तक गठबंधन के भीतर ना हो उसको सार्वजनिक करना गठबंधन धर्म की मर्यादा को तोड़ने के बराबर है।
Now, after holding meet with Chirag Paswan, Nityanand Rai said that the BJP and the LJP have worked for the welfare of the people.
यह घर हमारा पुराना घर है। इस घर से मेरा संबंध भी बहुत पुराना और अटूट है, जो पहले भी रहा है, आगे भी रहेगा, सदा रहने वाला है। हम दोनों भाई मिले हैं और जब मिलते हैं तो कुछ न कुछ तो बात होती है, और जब हम लोग मिलते हैं तो अच्छी बात होती है। माननीय रामविलास भैया और भाजपा हमेशा बिहार को या देश को अपनी सेवा से, काम से हमेशा खुश ही रखने का काम किए हैं।
Indore police, meanwhile, has filed a case against Congress leader Digvijay Singh for allegedly sharing a contentious post about former RSS chief on social media handle. The FIR was registered on Saturday night following a complaint that was lodged by Rajesh Joshi, who is a local lawyer and an RSS worker as well. Meanwhile, BJP President JP Nadda is in Hyderabad for BJP's zonal meet that is scheduled to take place. JP Nadda was felicitated as he arrived for that meet that would begin in just a while from now. In more news from across the country, 2 people have died and several others have been injured after a landslide that was reported in Doda. One person who was stuck under the landslide was taken out by the locals. Meanwhile, vehicles were also hit by the landslide due to the inclement weather conditions. A portion of National Highway was washed away in Seri area of Ramban due to heavy rainfall as a result of the weather conditions. Authorities meanwhile opened all floodgates from the PANDOH diversion dam in Himachal Pradesh after heavy overnight rainfall in its catchment area. In J&K, in Kathua, a truck was washed away due to the intensity of flash floods that caused immense damage in the Bani area of Kathua in J&K. Amid the heavy rains that caused landslides in J&K, traffic on the Jammu-Kishtwar highway was also halted due to big boulder that blocked roads in several areas of the highway. Famous Panchvaktra temple of the Mandi city in Himachal Pradesh has been submerged in floods as a result of heavy rainfall in several parts of Himachal Pradesh. A car was swept away in BEAS river near Kullu, Himachal Pradesh earlier today as water level increased in the river following heavy rains overnight. A landslide was reported near the Shimla Dengu Mata temple that led to a road being washed away due to the landslides. The annual Amarnath Yatra has resumed after being suspended for the third consecutive day on Sunday due to bad weather conditions in Jammu and Kashmir. Naib Subedar Kuldeep Singh attained martyrdom while crossing a river during an area domination patrol in difficult terrain of Pooch that was swept as he was swept away in flash floods in this area. In more news from across the globe, in news that's come from Sudan, where an airstrike in the Sudanese city has killed at least 22 people, which is said to be one of the deadliest air attacks yet in 3 months of fighting between the country's rival generals. The strike was one of the deadliest in the fighting in urban areas of the capital and elsewhere in Sudan. 9 people are missing in central China after a landslide sparked by heavy rains amid flooding and soaring temperature across much of the country. President Joe Biden is all set to leave for Europe, where he would be spending time in 3 nations, tending to alliances that have been tested by Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Ukraine Prime Minister Rishi Sunak said that the country is against the use of cluster munitions, this a day after US President Joe Biden agreed to send additional weapons to Ukraine. The Prime Minister went on to say that UK is a signatory to a convention banning the use of the controversial bombs.
Well, the UK is signatory to a convention which prohibits the production or use of cluster munitions and discourages their use. We will continue to do our part to support Ukraine against Russia's illegal and unprovoked invasion. We've done that by providing heavy battle tanks and most recently long-range weapons, and hopefully all countries can continue to support Ukraine. Russia's act of barbarism is causing untold suffering to millions of people. It's right that we collectively stand up to it, and I'll be heading off to the NATO summit next week in Vilnius, where we will be discussing exactly this with our allies, how we can strengthen our support for Ukraine.
In a video that has surfaced of Labour MP grilling UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak over his attendance record in the UK Parliament has now gone viral on social media. The parliamentarian was seen confronting Sunak for his failure to attend the parliamentary vote on whether or not to suspend Boris Johnson. A fire in a passenger van in eastern Pakistan Saturday killed 7 people, which included 2 children as well. The dead included 4 members of the same family, a woman, her daughter and her 2 granddaughters as well. Meanwhile, 8 passengers sustained serious injuries in this incident. A shooting at a party in Texas wounded 8 people, including several teenagers, on Friday night. Police in the area said that shooting happened near El Paso County Club in the city's Upper Valley area at around 9:45 p.m. local time. The head of the International Atomic Energy Agency was in South Korean capital on Saturday to allay public concerns about Japanese plans to release treated wastewater from damaged Fukushima nuclear power plant into the Pacific Ocean. South Korean opposition lawmakers sharply criticized the head of the United Nations nuclear watchdog for its approval of Japanese plans to release treated wastewater from damaged Fukushima nuclear power plant during a tense meeting in Seoul on Sunday, with protesters even screaming outside the door. China's national women's football team received First Nations Australian welcome in Adelaide on Sunday. The 1999 runners-up will kick off their 8th journey for the Women's World Cup, where they are placed in Group D with England, Denmark and Haiti. And in more news from across the globe, former President Donald Trump campaigned in Las Vegas on Saturday, delivering punches to Biden. To a crowd of volunteer recruiters, Trump accused Biden of being a corrupt, incompetent leader and of taking millions of dollars from countries including the likes of China and Ukraine. US Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen on a trip to China said that the relationship between Beijing and Washington is one of most consequential of their times. Ukraine President Zelensky earlier on Saturday gave a news conference in Istanbul after holding talks with Turkish counterpart Erdogan on Saturday. Ukraine President Zelensky marked the 500th day of war by hailing the country's soldiers in a video from the Black Sea island that has now become the symbol of Ukraine's resilience in the face of the Russian invasion, which continues for over a year now. The UN Secretary General meanwhile condemned the airstrike in Sudan, which reportedly killed at least 22 people. Israelis protested for the 27th week in a row against Benjamin Netanyahu's contentious planned judicial overhaul that has divided the nation. Tens of thousands of people were seen waving Israeli flags, singing and even chanting, gathering in Tel Aviv to push back against the Prime Minister's judicial reform plan. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, meanwhile, has sparked a fresh row while responding to a tweet by American singer-songwriter Taylor Swift. Trudeau has received major backlash from Canadians who have cast doubt over Trudeau's priorities as the country faces crisis on multiple fronts. Scorching heat has had a profound impact on both humans and livestock in the region. According to the National Meteorological Agency of Niger, temperatures have soared to as much as 47 degrees Celsius in recent days. A large diplomatic mission with representatives from 25 countries led by the United Nations visited the Jenin refugee camp in the West Bank on Saturday to assess the level of damage in the area following Israel's largest military operation in last 2 decades. Part of a building collapsed in northeastern Brazilian city that killed 14 people after 31 hours of searching. Firefighters said that all victims had been found.